Everybody, welcome to Rabbit Hole Saturday, February 8th, 2025. Tonight's topic is going to be the Rockin' Caribbean. Some people call it Caribbean. I call it Caribbean, but it could be care of beans. You know, a lot of beans out there. But I have Luke Clemmer, and I also have Canuck, better known as New Brunswick, Canada guy. I won't tell you his real name because he may not want it out there. But
even my real name, so many people have it, so it's not that big of a deal.
Not that big of a deal, he says.
So there's like 30 people I know of with my name.
Oh yeah.
In North America and the UK.
All right. So you know them all with the same name, eh?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, 31, I know your name.
Because now that I'm in that thing where I get all the papers, the geological study papers,
they send shit to me all the time too, dude.
They keep asking me if I'm the author of such and such a paper.
Correct.
That's how many people there are with the same name as me.
Yeah, it's a scam. You know that. It's okay.
Wild stuff.
Yeah, it's a scam.
Well, it is if you pay them money, but I don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. No, I guess it's not working.
Well, my running joke is I'm the man with 2 first names or 2 last names. That's what I would say whenever somebody beats me, because people sometimes get it confused. No. And I still answer the other way if they mess it up.
All right, so I guess I would go.
How many aliases do we got to call you by, Canuck?
Yeah. And then I have nicknames.
Do I do that?
It depends on who's talking to me, what my nickname is. I have multiple of those too.
Yeah. Well, you have I don't know what the hell. It worked and then it didn't work.
It was there and then
there it is. Gone. There it is.
But it's so funny now because I've had my same name now ever since I've been on YouTube. So like everybody knows me by that name now anyway. Like when I go into other chats, they said, "Hey, you're from this one." And I said, "Yeah."
Well,
even when I'm in something that's not even related to the other ones. So it's kind of funny. But
well,
so if you have a good name, don't change it because that's what everybody knows you as. And that they'll be even able to tell if somebody's impersonating you just by how you talk. So
right.
Good stuff.
Oh, well, they have AIs that do all that shit. So,
yeah.
I mean,
well, the AI probably has all sorts of good information on me.
Oh yeah, yeah,
sure, but
and they know how to make you into something that you're not too. So, you're a good guy, so you don't, still. They'll make it into something you're not.
Well, but anything, but that's how it goes.
Yeah, it's a truth.
If they want
to. Yeah, we talked a little bit right after the earthquake today. We talked a little bit about what was happening around the 7.6. I've got it as a 7.3. And, but hey, whatever,
I guess tonight we'll have to go with what the big boys say.
Yeah.
The GF.
Yeah. Well, it's in the 7 range. But when you look up the history of them, they all debate on what it is anyway, right? Even the historical ones.
Right.
So they say, it's between 7.3 and 7.7 or whatever. So even they don't agree from years ago either. So it's nothing new. Tomorrow it might be 7.7, or it could be a 7.4. Who knows what?
All right. Well, let's talk about today's. Even they're doing all the. There's 3 other quakes that have happened according to USGS as well. Today, 7.6 happened 209 kilometers south-southwest of the Georgetown, the Cayman Islands. And since then, we've had a 4.3, which is not the latest, but the 4.2 is. And then we had a 4.8 right after the earthquake. So 3 low or 1 high 4, 2 low class 4s, and no 5s. I got to say that this thing may not even have been a 7.3. Looking at over there on Dynamic Earth Community Live, which most people are there. Everybody's watching it right now. He's on Twitch as well. We appreciate Muzzy and support his channel. However, our topic today will be the earthquake. I'm going to share the screen so they got it. There you go. Boom. And push this over here. Show on screen. There you go. All right, guys. So we're set up. And then if we wanted to change something, we can do that. I don't know. I think sometimes the ocean is better visual here. This is the current location of the earthquake in the Caribbean. We've had a couple of earthquakes off Puerto Rico as well in the last hour or so. And all magnitudes, we'll just keep those up. Turn that off. You can see several of them right there. And in the continental U.S., California's got a few, which is on the Pacific plate. On the North American plate, there's quite a bit coming off of Mendocino all the way down or going up to Mendocino. Oh my gosh. What the hell are they doing? Yeah, I don't know. Somebody doing something.
Made like an echo.
Yeah, no, it's my family. They're doing something. I got cameras. I can see if they're coming and going. I heard the garage door go up and down, so I was like, hey, what the heck? Yeah. You two talk for a minute. I'm going to move my car into the garage. My wife's sick, and I don't want her to have to do anything. Puerto Rico just had a 4.6, by the way.
Yeah, well, to me, that makes sense, because if you look at that's the whole Caribbean North American plate boundary going across from Guatemala all the way across to Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. All that stuff.
Right.
Now, there's a bunch of different fault names, but it's still fault plate boundary.
Yep.
So this is going to make more sense once we read about the previous earthquakes, because it talks about all that in there, which fault it is on, and all that stuff.
Right. And kind of leading up to this quake, I mean, we've kind of seen the pattern start to develop beforehand. Especially when you look in previous history of the repeating pattern. I mean, you could almost kind of see it coming.
Yeah. And just this year, we had the high 6. Well, in the last year, I should say. So back last year, there was high 6 over there by Cuba.
Yeah.
Remember? Whenever that was. I'd have to go look up to date. But in 2024. So basically, it's moving all along that.
I wasn't that like early spring?
Yeah, I think so. Back closer, to the
March, April, something like that.
Yeah. I'd have to go look it up. Well, I can do that right now.
Yeah,
quake.
I know it wasn't all that long ago. It's less than a year, anyways.
Oops. I mean, how do I close the darn thing?
Well, actually, there's two of them. But
God bless
no,
America.
wasn't that long ago, November
Hung up
2024.
on my
5.9 and 6.8.
unplugged my headset.
10th
Okay.
November. So that wasn't that long ago, really.
No,
There
that
we go.
isn't.
Now I can hear you guys. Jeez, what a nightmare.
Yeah, I thought it was back earlier in the year, but it wasn't. So
What's that?
the
That's
two
6.8.
Cuba quakes were on November 10th, 6.8 and 5.9.
Right. Well, I didn't get that one too. That's another one that's related to the one we just had.
Yeah, because it's on the same plate boundary. If you trace the fault.
Correct.
So that's pretty interesting. So that was only
All right. So let me see.
months ago.
Hold on here. I gotta find where the hell I'm at. Okay, doing the research on that one. Doing this one. That's X, and I don't see anything new on that earthquake. The tsunami alert went out, but we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what happened the other times, the other 3 times.
Correct.
There was advisories, but it never amounted to too much.
Which is, I'm thankful. I don't need people dying. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what we all think, nobody needs anybody to be dying. That's Lydia. We saw that one.
And now, when I think about it, wasn't there a couple of years ago there was a 7 in Cuba too? So it's gone, or in Haiti on land. So in the last 2 years, it's gone 7 Haiti, 6.9 Cuba, and now 7.6 on the other side. So the whole way across.
Oh crap! Where the hell are all bookmarks? There we go.
So that's pretty interesting.
All right, so yeah, I got the Cuba one. I think. Do I? No, 7.7 that happened on 2020. The 6.8. That's the problem. I have to do a new search.
Yeah, you'd have to go the whole way across and do.
Yeah. 6.8. I have to drop it to 6.8.
Yeah, to get it in there.
I'll put it 6.5 just to give us a little boost.
Yeah.
And we're going to go back to year 2000. Custom.
Yeah, we're gonna go all the way back to 2009, and then do from 2009 all the way to now, and do all the 7s that are down there.
In this region.
Yeah, like we could do just that region there for the 7s, or we could go up all the way across to.
I don't want to go.
Then you get the 2010 Haiti quake in there too.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that in the search here. Let me see. Shit, there's a plenty from 2000. All right.
2000 is probably too many, but from 2009
to 255 quakes.
25 would be.
So I'm gonna do 7, or let me do 6.8 just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
2009. So how far back you want to go? All right.
January 1.
Oh, January 1. All right.
Yeah, January 1, 2009 to the date today.
All right. We're good. Okay, we're looking at 96 events. And I'm going to bring it over here and share this tab instead. Ocean, here we go. All right. This is today's quake right here, the orange one. And largest first. Oh my God, there was an 8.8 chili. Forgot.
That was right before the.
Yeah, April. I remember this one. Yeah, boy.
But see, there was another 7.3 in that area, 2009, May.
Yeah,
28.
this search is just a little much than what I wanted. So
Yeah,
let me
it's
go.
too much.
I'll bring it back in, but just I'm going to narrow it down to 7 and custom
But I have so many
2009.
memorized now that
Well, that's good. You know you haven't been dropped on your head as much. You know,
I've hit my head lots, but maybe that's why.
maybe not enough.
Yeah.
You can still remember stuff. I'm a little bit your senior, but not too much.
I don't.
Well,
Yeah,
I got 33 quakes from Mendocino down
concussion.
into Peru. Yeah, I probably have had a few concussions.
Concussions.
Yeah, share this. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go. So 33 quakes from Mendocino to Peru, and on this side, or the Caribbean's, basically what we're talking about here. Okay. So today's quake is here. Like I said during the report, which is a breaking news report that's on YouTube. You can look that up under the live. The quake that we had over here, the 7.7 in Jamaica, and the one in Cuba didn't even come out. That's just screwed up. The 7.1 that happened January 28th of 2020 has a couple of other events right here. The 7.4 in Mexico, right? Oaxaca.
Yeah.
And
then Lone Pine was like the next day after that.
Yeah. And then in 21, the 7.0 up here, Acapulco in 21.
So it's like moved up.
And then in 22 and September 19th in 7.6. So what we see is a trend of heavy quakes moving up. All right. Now I didn't check what the date on these was. Not that one. Not that one. I know that's Ridgecrest there. No. All right. So 2012. I remember that one. Yeah, that was Easter. Yeah, that was Easter 170 Mexico.
Yeah.
And the Caracas one, or Valenzuela, the 7.3 happened on 2018 as well. All right, so what we see in one series of quakes is on this interesting little plate boundary here between Cuba and Mexico and Nicaragua, right? And the Yucatan. This plate boundary here of the Caribbean. Interesting. We don't know where this is heading right now, this 7.6, but this 7.7 went and bounced up the coast. Why do I say it went up the coast? Because this happened and then several others happened as well. However, at that same event, there is one right here, the Haiti 7.2. And that is an aftershock or an after event of the 7.7 that happened a year before, a year and a half before, 18, from August of the next year. So, I mean, the 7.6 over here happened in September of 22. Yeah, see, that one hit before the September 22 did. So,
Yeah,
can we deduce that?
Same east-west line, pretty much.
Right. And right now I'm specifically looking at the here's 21 down here, a 7.5. Crap.
Yeah.
That happened in 2021. Yeah. Okay. So we have some other days to work with.
Yeah.
2019, that happened the same year of the Equatorian quake. That 7.5 happened the same year of Ridgecrest. So there's at least 3 sequences we can see in here by looking at the dates. But our current date here, the 7.6, which is the latest, it's yet to determine over the next 2 years.
Yeah, we got to see where it goes after this.
So
we can kind of guess what it's going to do depending on what it did the other times. But
all right, so let's look at the oldest first. So the oldest quake is right here. This happened in 2009, a 7.3.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's Honduras.
I have the wiki on it, so I'll
okay. Put it in the chat there.
Yeah, because it's fun to find the names after because they always change the name of it. But it's funny what they decided for the names. So it's going to make sense once we look it up. So we'll start with 2009 and then work our way up.
Crap.
So there, I put it in. So they call it the 2009 Swan Islands earthquake.
I guess the point I would like to make is that 2009 and the 2018 quake were both at 19 kilometers deep.
Yeah, and they both have the same name, Swan Islands. It's pretty interesting. But we'll get to that when we do the next one. And they're pretty short, so it's not going to take too long to read them.
Right.
Yeah. But it gives good information because it says like where it was felt and all that stuff, and then we can compare it to where everybody's feeling it now, which is pretty interesting.
Yep.
So once Joe gets it up there, I'll just read it.
Right.
It's only 5 or 6 paragraphs.
Share this tab instead. Go ahead, bud.
Okay, the 2009 Swan Islands earthquake. The 2009 Swan Islands earthquake occurred on May 28th at 2:24:45 a.m. local time, with a moment magnitude of 7.3 and a maximum Mercalli intensity of 7, very strong. The epicenter was located in the Caribbean Sea, 64 kilometers, 40 miles northeast of the island of Roatan, 19 miles northeast of Port Royal, Isla La Bahias, 15 miles northwest of Isla Barbaretta, and 130 kilometers, 81 miles northeast of La Ceiba. 3 aftershocks followed the earthquake within magnitude 4 range. So see, we just talked about the aftershocks, the one we're getting now. See, so there wasn't 5s with that one either, so that's interesting. Yeah, the earthquake occurred at a depth of around 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles, on a transform fault zone known as the Swan Islands Transform Fault on the southern margin of the Cayman Trough. It was a result of left lateral strike slip faulting. The Swan Island Transform Fault forms part of the tectonic boundary between the North American Plate and the Caribbean Plate and continues onshore as the Motagua, or maybe it's H name, I don't know. H for the, because some of them are.
Motagua.
You said Motagua, it right. Fault. Yeah, and the
Chicxulub
Polo Chick Fault.
Hey man, there's a Chicks Hoy and a Polo Chick fault.
So that's what they are, the names when you go on land, but see, it's all the same crack. This is what I find funny. They have about 15 different names for the same fault. So that's why it confuses everybody, right? The 32nd offshore quake was felt in Guatemala, El Salvador, Belize, and as far as Cancun in Mexico. Well, we already know the report from Flutter said that her friend felt it in Cancun, the one we just had. It was also felt in parts of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Cuba, Jamaica, and the Cayman Islands. Analysis of geodetic and seismic data indicated that up to 1 meter of slip occurred across a 250-kilometer long fault rupture. Although the epicenter was located far off the coast of Central America, the long rupture contributed to severe damage in Honduras. The earthquake ruptured a segment of plate boundary immediately east of the 1976 earthquake rupture on the Motagua Fault. A tsunami was observed with heights of 4 meters in Motagua River, Guatemala. So there was a 4-meter tsunami. The earthquake caused at least 7 fatalities, 40 injuries, and more than 130 collapsed or damaged buildings across northern Honduras. 2 important bridges and a number of levees and port terminals were also seriously damaged. In the Guatemalan department of Izabal, 35 buildings were destroyed and 80 were damaged. In Belize, at least 5 buildings were also destroyed and 25 were damaged. In Roatan, 1 home was damaged and 1 injury occurred. The earthquake caused an estimated $37 million worth of damage, and electricity, internet, and telephone connections were cut throughout the majority of Honduras.
Cut? They were cut?
Yeah. So that's crazy.
Wow.
A tsunami watch was put into effect by the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center for Honduras, Guatemala, and Belize, and was discontinued 90 minutes after the earthquake occurred.
Yeah.
So now what we're going to do, we'll just go down to the bottom of that and click on the list of earthquakes in 2009. So this one was on May 28th. So I want us to look at what was going on in 2009, just for funny.
May 28th? So we should go back 1 year, right?
Yeah, but just for, well, we can do
Shits
that
and
after.
giggles. All right.
Yeah, let's see what it was doing right up to May 28th, and we come back.
Okay.
Well, I already know what happened.
I know you always know. We got Greece in there, okay? And Costa Rica had a 6-1. Mid-India, well, okay, don't worry about that. No. Well, tell us no. Peru, 4.6. All January. So February, we have Peru, 6. Peru, 6. Peru, 6-1. Wow. Sandwich Islands, a 6-3. In March, we have Panama popping at a 6-3. We have a Svalbard 6-5. Nicaragua 4.4. Going into April, Italy. Sandwich Islands had a 6-7. Chile had a 6-1. Mexico Guerrero had a 5-8, and that's central Mexico. In May, California Malibu had a 4.4. Guatemala came back with a 6-3. El Salvador 4-7. Ecuador 6-1. Honduras 7-3.
Yeah, so that's the one we're talking about.
All right. So Honduras was the 7-3. So what led up to it? I don't see a whole lot, but
we had South America acting up, and we had Central America.
I'm going to
Italy, Greece,
and
Malibu.
I'm going to what month was that?
So that was just the first 5 months of.
All right, so I'm going to go from January the year before. Haida Gwaii, Canada was bouncing big time, 6664. 2008. Okay, everybody. Haida Gwaii had a 6-1, all in January. Then in February, Chile had a 6-3. The Atlantic Ocean popped with a 6.9. There's the push. Again, the Atlantic Ocean push.
Yeah.
I think that's what's the 2 5s we had this week, last week. Sandwich Islands again popping with a 6-6. Oaxaca, Mexico 6-5. We're in February. Greece 6-9. Oh my God.
See, it's the same.
Greece is always in the way.
It's the
6-2
same thing.
Svalbard. Nevada had a 6-0. Shetland Islands. Isn't that down by the
Yeah.
Sandwich Islands?
Down by the Antarctica, yeah.
Yeah. Where they had that war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Great Britain put the thump on them, didn't he? Great Britain had even a rocking one. Argentina had 5-2. We go into March.
Right.
Where is this? Oh, Philippines. Prince Edward Island. Isn't that in Atlantic? Yeah, Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, over by below.
The Illusions at a 6-2. Margaree, that's south of Australia. That had a 7. Sandwich Islands came in with a 6. In April, the Illusions were bouncing around with a bunch of 6s. Illinois had a 5-4. Brazil came in with a 5-2. Atlantic Ocean with a 6-5. Nevada with a 4-7, or swarm of earthquakes over several periods, several days. Sandwich Islands came back with a 6-1. This is like repetitive of like 2020.
Well, that's what it's doing.
Yeah. Colombia 5-9. Iceland 6-1. Greece again 6-4. South Sandwich Islands again with a 7.
So it's interesting to me that Greece is acting up again. Right
Yeah,
now.
I'm seeing another Greece of 6-4 here. California, Southern Cal popped with a 5.5 in July 29. August.
So where was that 5.5? Does it say?
Southern Cal, Chino Hills.
Oh, so Chino.
2008. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chino quakes. We
talked about those. Yeah. The Atlantic Ocean again 6-0. So we're seeing a lot of that Atlantic Ocean. Antarctica popping with 6.5 and a 6.3 down there by Sandwich. I'm assuming that. Peru had a 6.4 in August. The Atlantic Ocean's again 6.3. Wow.
So you have Mid-Atlantic Ridge pushing. You have
Yes.
pushing. You have South America acting up, and then Central America, which is where our
I really think the Mid-Atlantic Rift, it's a huge instigator on a lot of these.
Well, I agree with you on that point, but we haven't seen any really big quakes recently in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
We just had 2 5s here a couple of days ago.
But that's why I think you always get a big one when you get a swarm of 5s too. It's the same thing.
Yeah, the 2 5s happened on the 4th. of February. So these two popping right here share. Oh crap! Sorry. I'll fix it.
What I do with the Mid-Atlantic Ridge ones now, I just go right directly west from them and see what it lines up with. That's what I look for.
Oh, that's what you do. All right.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. I look to see if it adjusts like the whole way across right after.
Well, see, I look at the way North America is moving in the Mexican, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic, and it's northwest.
Yeah, it's slightly different depending on which part you're looking at.
I look at that and I say, okay, if the Atlantic Ridge is pushing, then northwest, and we've had a couple of Ohio quakes, this small ones, but still a couple of Ohio quakes here. Let me go 7 days. See, here are the two Ohio quakes, and they happened on the 3rd, a 3-1 and a 2-8.
Yeah, I always see it lines up with
and yeah, see, that's the northwest. And then in Kansas, we had a 2-5, and then up on Wyoming, 3-1 and a 2 or a 3-0. And then we also had up by Haida Gwaii, we had a couple of 4s, a 4-4. Those all happened on the 2nd and the 6th. So are they related from the 4th? Mm.
Well,
it's on that northwest line.
It's the North American plate moving. That's what it's doing.
Yeah.
So when it gets a little bumpage out on the Mar, it adjusts on the opposite side a little bit and a little bit going across.
And we had, if you go way up here to Svalbard, there was a 4.6 on the 2nd. Then here, Rick James on the 6th. Then we have a 2 on the 4th. Then another one, 4.9 on the 4th. So that's 3 on the 4th at 5s. Oh, and 2 more down here. So
see, the whole thing is pushing.
Yeah, the whole thing is pushing. And these happened on the 3rd.
You have to remember it's pushing both ways.
And one on the 4th.
We're focusing on the Americas right now, but it's also doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's pushing east. Yeah. I always look for what the hell's happening on the Atlantic, because we can almost virtually trace it all the way across. We did have what was this, a 5-0 on the 2nd and the 3rd. We had a 4. Unusual spacing for this earthquakes right here. We don't see many right there. Between Alaska and Russia. But strong movement from the Atlantic, which I don't know. Canuck, are you familiar with what was it? 164 million years ago, when the Atlantic, it was after Pangea did their thing with the Russian up there in what do they call it when they're all yeah, I'm going for the terrain here.
Yeah.
Siberia. Wow, the Siberian traps, right? Siberian traps happened, and then like 60 million years later, the Mid-Atlantic did its thing, and then Pangea split up.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly where the Mid-Atlantic or the Atlantic Ridge did its underwater volcano that wiped out Earth. All living things, just about. Do you know where that is? Where they talk about that?
No, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But see, there was a little ocean there before too, and it all smashed together to make Pangea.
Right.
The whole other thing. It wasn't as big as the Atlantic, but if that's what they say anyway, when it all smashed together to make Pangea, because that's how all the mountains got made on the East Coast. But anyway, we don't want to get sidetracked with that.
Yeah.
That's another episode.
Right.
But anyway, so what it's doing now, this is just in the last few days, and it's been little quakes on the mid-Atlantic ridge, really. Well, 5s, I guess, or medium-sized. But I've seen it before where it does like a whole bunch of swarms of 5s, and then you'll get a big quake on the opposite side of North America from the swarm of 5s. So it's probably good we haven't had a swarm of 5s. It's just been 1 or 2 at the most,
right,
on the mid-Atlantic ridge. So now, did we finish 2008? I can't remember.
No, we didn't. Because I'm still trying to find out what that Atlantic thing is called. It's a extinction event, you know.
I don't know. I can't keep them all straight.
Yeah, there's 5 of them. Yeah, it's the Jurassic one. Where the hell? Extinction event. 5 major extinctions happened. Yeah, there's the Permian, which happened 250, and then the Jurassic or Triassic happened at 210, and then the Cretaceous, which is the 66 million years ago. So what's that middle one? The Triassic Jurassic extinction, 210 million years ago. It's in the middle, marks the boundary between, okay, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where it is on the, okay, that's what split Pangea up then. All right.
Well, there would have been a big
call
crack.
it the Central Mid-Atlantic, just saw it. Central Atlantic Magmatic Province.
Oh, yeah.
The leading and best evidence for the TJME is a massive volcanic eruption specifically from Central Magmatic Province, or CAMP for short. The largest known igneous province area and one of the most voluminous, with the flood basalts extending across parts of southwestern Europe, northwest Africa, northeastern South America, and southeastern North America. The coincidence is synchrony of this event and the TJME is indicated by uranium-lead dating, argon dating, and paleomagnetism, the isotopic composition of fossil soils and marine sediments near the boundary between the late Jurassic and early Jurassic has been tied to large negative excursion. The values, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There is a map, but I think what happened, it's prior to Pangea breaking up. So if I brought it over here that everybody can see it. Let me see, how do I share it with you? So hang on there, buddy. All right. So share my screen. All right. All right. There we go. Share that. Loading. And for those out there on YouTube and Rumble, you can now see it. It's the wiki. This is the Siberian traps were up here, and 250 million years ago, when that thing went off, it destroyed all living things just about. And then when these things exploded, all living things just about 40 million years later.
Yeah, well, there was a whole bunch of super volcanoes over here too, where I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're real close to that area where it is right there.
Because Mount Pleasant caldera blew up 350, they say, if you read about it. So it was blowing up.
Yeah, these are the volcanoes that basically split up Pangea. And
all the main ones, the main offshore calderas. And I actually think Lake Okeechobee's one too. It goes all the way right down the coast. Basically.
Yeah, I'm not against you and all that. I find it super, super interesting. I don't go prior to 250 million myself because I think it's, out there in la la land too much. But they can trace the movement of North America for 250 million years. And the continents where they're at today. They can virtually trace them. Now, the Indian thing, I think, is far out, but hey, whatever. And Antarctica moving around the corner, but the ice ages that we've had and all that stuff, it's just far out. But this is the Atlantic thing. So when we start seeing things happening in the Atlantic, it's an old riff. I mean, it predates just about everything that we have. As for rifts, it predates the Pacific Ocean. And
it's like 250.
yeah, I mean, it's freaking old. And I know there's a way they determined, scientists have determined that. So when I see earthquakes along it, I'm alerted to something happening.
So when the supers by me were blowing up, that was when we were all together, everything all smashed together.
Right.
So in Pangea.
Right. So when Pangea began to move because the mid-Atlantic started spreading. And yeah, parts of those volcanoes are in Europe and Africa and North and South America. And interesting how they just kind of keep moving apart.
So to me, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is the west-east component of what's moving stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, to me too. In the Pacific side, I see a pattern traverse counterclockwise. Yeah. Some people see it going the opposite way.
Pacific Plate, northwest now. Now, I don't think it was always doing it, but what it's doing now, it's moving the Pacific Plate northwest.
Right. So it instead of going at a 350 degrees, it's now going at 300 degrees. So whatever happened on the east side of the Pacific radically changed this angle right here. Whereas before it was the Pacific was moving due north or north by about 350. And now look at the way it's moving. It's moving toward Japan and diving underneath the Sea of Okhotsk.
And if you go by GPS, Antarctica's bumping into South America, and South America's moving northwest, hitting the Caribbean plate and hitting Central America. So it's kind of doing the same thing as what the Pacific plate is doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you go by GPS. But also matches my Walker Lane idea that Walker Lane.
Well, I think Walker Lane. I think you and I have spoken at length about that. The American Occidental, which starts up in Alaska, ends up down here in Antarctica on the other side of Drake Passage. There seems to be an uncanny connection from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, because you can find old calderas all the way from Antarctica all the way right up the whole west.
Right. Coast. There's no calderas in this section of Peru, though. And it's only probably because the plate is very shallow, because that would only, I think there might be only a couple of ways to the subducting plate, that is, everybody. Being more stark down here, meaning the drop, dropping off the end of a table, so to speak, versus this sliding just under the top of the table and continuing inland. And the transition being here, the Nazca Ridge. I think that because there's no volcanoes in this region right here. None. There's volcano here and down here. Although it's in part of a subduction zone, we've learned that share this dead. we've learned about in the Pacific Northwest, the timetables where a flat slab doesn't create stratovolcanoes.
Yeah. Well, we've had that in other places. Yeah.
Right. And something, it's news to me. So I'm looking for a scientific answer going, well, why is there no volcanoes in Peru or central Peru? It may be because there's a flat slab there. I don't know. We have to wait till Karen Siglock and the rest of them publish. But the volcanic arc up here along the boundary of the Caribbean goes down into Ecuador, comes over to the archipelagos of Galapagos, comes back up through Panama, Costa Rica, and then back up here through the mid American trench, and then goes back through all the way to the top. So often we've seen earthquakes happen down here and register here, and in a series of patterns over time periods. So when we're looking at the list of earthquakes over time, that's why we're doing it, because we're saying, hey, wait a minute, how subjective are you being? And to a certain extent, it's quite subjective, but in another sense, there's a pattern that persists.
Because we have to remember that what the quakes are doing is moving the plates. That's what they do.
Right.
That's what it is.
The quakes are evidence that the plate's moving. Yeah. When one gives, and then you say, well, okay, where's the next weakest link, so to speak? We all know that water's going to go downward and not upward. And it will find the easiest path. And earthquakes do the same. They look for the easiest path. And in some senses, that's where I think people think that the western side of the Pacific, that it stems from Fiji going north. Well, I think Fiji is the weakest link. That's why that happens. It's happening there more often. And it's happening way down deep. And it might be so deep that's not even affecting anything up at the surface. But we see patterns that persist. And PNG, Santa Cruz Islands, Vanuatu, Halmahera, Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, Kamchatka, then over to Alaska. And then it goes back the other way. Usually big quakes in Alaska will propagate east rather than southwest. And it kind of weird. Why? Because I think the flow goes the other way. There's a current. I think it goes the other way, counterclockwise versus clockwise. And all it looks like, kind of like the tires on a wheel. I forget what that's called, but when you look at a wheel as you're going down the road, it looks like it's going backwards, and it's not. It's an optical illusion. I think that's what's happening. And the optical illusion
there's something that comes from the core that causes the subducting plate to have a deep quake in it.
Oh, like a vibration, huh?
Well, I don't know, some sort of wave that comes from because you'll see, like, when there's a bunch of deep quakes, it'll hit all places where there's previous subducted slabs. And like when there's a really big outbreak of deep quakes, I think it's a wave, because they've said now there's all sorts of different waves that come from
right. I'm hearing that too. Yeah, in some of the articles I've read.
And I think there's some sort of wave that hits all those slabs that are subducting and that are way down deep in there. And I think that's my theory.
Right. And I've heard the upper mantle is the reason the upper mantle is the upper mantle is because its density, its viscosity, its makeup is different than the lower mantle. because it can't get through the lower mantle because the lower mantle is more dense. So when the upper mantle stuff that comes down bangs off the top of
To me,
the other
you don't
mantle.
always have to get a deep quake outbreak to get a big shallow earthquake.
No. But again,
So
it's when the subducting plate bounces off that plate boundary way down there, or the from one mantle to the other, that it's like a gong that goes off. And I think that's what is happening inside of Fiji. It's bouncing off the down way down there.
On deep quakes, they say something is happening in the slab to cause the quake in there. But they're
back to the conveyor belt idea. I don't really buy it myself, but I'm interested in what you're thinking there, Flutter Girl.
Yeah. If you read the studies. But they're not saying like it's a wave coming up from the core that's causing
right. Maybe it's a magnetic.
Yeah.
If they stopped naming the countries, Papueto.
Well, we're going to do 2018 next for the next quake.
Right.
And that was the year we had all the crazy big Fiji deep. That was the same year.
2018. All right. Now, what quake are we starting with on 2018? Oh, this one right here, the Honduras Barbuda one.
Yeah, it's also called Solomon Islands. That one in 2018 too.
Yeah. So we did this one, the 2009. Now we're doing the 2018.
And I just want to say that to finish up the 2009 one, it was May 28th, 2009. But within that year after that, we had the 8.8 Chile, and we had the Baja quake in April 2010, and we had the Haiti 7. So the year after, within a year from May 28,
7-0,
we had all those big quakes. We had the 7 in Haiti, we had the 8.8 in Chile, and then we had the Baja 7.2. All within a year of the 7.3 there. And
Ecuador had a 7.1 as well in 2010, August 12th.
Yeah. So see, it shook up like basically everything.
In 2011, Peru had a 7. 7. Yeah. So there are a couple of 7s down here. So
we went back a year and a half before that 2009 one, and then we just did jumping ahead a year.
2012, Oaxaca popped again.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go to way 14 for another 7.2 up there, but okay. In 2017, Mexico City.
Yeah, we had the Mexico 8.1 and the other 7.2, I think it was.
They don't even have this on this list.
It's all right close together in September.
I'm going to do another search because it's not coming out right. Custom 7. We're looking at from 2009.
Yeah.
1
till now.
I'll put 2008 just in case we were off in date.
There should be a lot of 7s on.
Make custom. We're only doing the central part of the Eastern Pacific. Okay. We can bounce out of that all we want. There are 32 quakes, 7.0 and above from 2008 to current. And Mexico City's still not freaking on here. That's weird. What year was Mexico City, dude?
2017, but it was off the coast, but it shook.
Oh,
8.1. And then there was a 7.2 like a few days later. Different spot.
Chiapas.
Yeah.
Peru. The Chiapas quake shook Mexico City
There was
in 2017.
The one that was 8.1.
8.2, 2017.
8.2 or whatever. 8,
Yeah.
8.2.
Chiapas.
But
That's wild, man. It's huge. I mean, it's a big different. Share this time instead. It's huge. This quake right here, 2017.
So they were September 20.
Yeah, September 8th, 2017. Mexico City's up here. And look, and we have another one here on the September 19th, the 7-0. Look at that.
So this would have been
10 days later.
Yeah, the year before. Right
2017. Before. No, both of these are 2017, yeah.
Yeah, but in relation to the 2018.
Right. The year before.
Would have been just a little bit before.
Right. I'm not seeing any. So there's a 16 down there.
Yeah, the one in 2018, almost pretty close to where the one that we were just talking about.
Correct.
The 2009, 2018 one were pretty close together. And it was another big one, 7.6. And it was in January.
Well,
2018. So
how far back do we go? If we're looking at our start date of 2017, I can go back 2015 and catch a couple down here, but there's a kind of a demarcation line of early 2000, let's say 2008, and then a pause, and then it kicks up again in 2015, and then there's a pause, and then there's 2018, and then what's the other one? 2020. Do we count from 15 all the way to 20?
Well, we could, depending on what we were doing, but for now, we're only doing within a year of our whatever quake we're focusing on to see where it came from and where it went. That's basically
right. And there is anecdotal evidence, the same kind that we're using. We can say that Peruvian twin sevens in 2015 created all this other crap.
Well, they're part of the stuff that's coming up from the south.
Correct. Yeah. I don't know. I think, this Easter Island through the Nazca Ridge into Peru comes back up. I just really think that there's something to that. Also, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, when it pushes real hard up and down it, I mean, it not just one spot, but up and down it, then we get, a ton of stuff. I'm just wondering, but so we're looking right now, again, we're going 2018, looking at the Honduras 7.5.
Yeah.
That's our start date.
Yeah, unless I'm going to put the wiki in. It's short like the other one, so we can read it.
All right.
And it has the same name. They called it Swan Island earthquakes too. So
crazy. So
it had the same name in 2009 because they were almost in like the identical spot.
All right. On January 9th, 2018, approximately 8:51 p.m. local time, 2:51 UT, a magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck in the Yucatan Basin of the Caribbean Plate, 44 kilometers or 27 miles east of Great Swan Island, off the coast of Honduras. The earthquake was felt across Central America, rattled windows in an earthquake was felt in the Cayman Islands. Tsunami advisories were sent out from the U.S. Warning Center and were canceled, and no further monitoring was needed. Earthquake occurred in the depth of around 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles, like most quakes do, on a transform fault zone known as the Swan Islands Transform Fault, the Cayman Trough, where it forms part of the boundary between North American Plate and the Caribbean Plate. The area just to the west also produced a large earthquake in 2009 that measured 7.3 at the moment magnitude scale. According to the finite fault model created by the U.S. Geological Survey, the earthquake generated a maximum of 24 meters in a compact rupture zone. 3 sub-events were discovered during the rupture process, the third of which occurred at a velocity exceeding that of the shear wave, propagating at 5 kilometers a second faster than the shear wave velocity of 4 kilometers. The event is classified as a super shear earthquake. Wow. Yeah, these super shears are new talk for people in the field now. So be aware of that, everybody. Super shear earthquake is when a propagation of a rupture along the fault surface occurs at speeds exceeding the seismic shear wave or the S wave. This is cause and effect is analogous to a sonic boom. Now that's what I was talking about earlier on the the alert that we had on this earthquake that just happened, 7.6 or whatever. It sometimes sounds like an echo to the machine because it's going faster than the surface wave. And that's where they call it sonic boom. So it messes with the instruments. And so when a shear wave like that or super shear happens, it's really unique. These seismic events along a fault surface displacement initiates at the focus and then propagates outward. Typically, the large earthquakes, the focus lies toward one end of the slip surface, and much of the propagation is unidirectional. Theoretical studies have in the past suggested that the upper bound of the propagation velocity is that Rayleigh waves, approximately 0.92 of the shear wave velocity. However, evidence and propagation of velocity between the S wave and the compressional wave, P wave, values have been reported on several earthquakes in agreement with the theoretical and laboratory studies to support possibility of rupture propagation in this velocity range. Systematic studies indicate that a super shear rupture is common in large strike slip earthquakes. So it's common, and it says geological effects. The high rates of strain expected near faults that are affected by super shear are thought to generate what is described as pulverized rocks. The pulverized involves a development of many small microcracks at scale of smaller than a grain of the rock, and while preserving the earlier fabric quite distant from the normal brecciation and cataclasis found in most fault zones. Such rocks have been reported up to 400 meters away from a large strike slip faults, such as the San Andreas Fault. The link between super shear and occurrence of pulverized rocks is supported by laboratory experiments that show very high strain rates are necessary to cause such intense fracturing. The Northern Anatolian Fault was one, the 7.6, the 7.2. The Kunlun Fault, 7.8 in 2001. The Denali Fault, 7.9, 2002. The Longmenshire Fault, 2008, Sichuan earthquake, 7.9. 6.9, a Yushu earthquake in 2010, strike slip movement on the Yushu Fault. 2012, Indian Ocean earthquake, 8.6, associated with strike slip on several fault segments. The first super shear event recognized in oceanic lithosphere in the Indian Ocean, 2012. So those were, 6 or 7 of them that these super shear earthquakes happen. So that buzzword, let that sit back in your brain that when this happens, the rocks themselves get pulverized at a really small scale. And that's pretty insane. And I wonder if that compacts the rocks more so that the next time it's harder for it to quake. Or does it pulverize it so that it's super weak? I would like to know more about that.
Well, I think it fills in the seismic gaps, however long the gaps are between when the other ones happen.
And they generally happen at a
Oh, it feels like it.
bedtime. All right, sweetie.
Yeah.
Good night. Love you.
Love you.
That's Mom, everybody. She's saying good night.
So this one we're talking about right now is 2018 at the start of it.
Good night, Mom.
Good night. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I was trying.
I try to keep you busy all day.
Wake me up when you come to bed.
No, I'm going to sleep when I go
Yeah,
when I go to my bed. I'll go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's on her way to bed, so good for her. She's 82. Everybody, come on, you gotta love her. And arguing with the lady on the headset, just. I'm like, wait, who's yelling? Who else is out here? Do I have somebody on the? And then I heard the echo, and I go, oh my god. It was her. She didn't know.
Oh, that's what the quake does when it does a super shear rupture. It just keeps.
Yeah, it
going.
echoes. Yeah, and that was the buzzword that I was looking for to share with. Who was the gentleman earlier today? My brain's fading fast. We all know him, Coolio.
Coolio,
Yeah, Coolio.
Well, I think when it does do that, it looks like two quakes. Well,
yeah,
probably
I agree with you.
kind of, but
Yeah,
because
that
it's
happened in
doing-
Japan, that happened off the coast of New Zealand. You know, so
it's doing a rupture and then echoing, going out two ways. So it probably does look like.
right.
See, we've had that before, like with the Kermadex one back there in 2021, where,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the same thing with South Sandwich. They thought there was more than one.
Well, the 22 or 2020 Caribbean earthquake, 7.7, that's on that list.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's
So-
all on that same Cayman Trough. Might be different fault lines, but it's all
Mhm.
different fault lines, but it's all the same thing, really. So they're saying that one's was a super shear event
yes. Yeah.
in 2018 and 2020. Well, they probably all are.
Mm-hmm. Well, a strike slip, you know.
Yeah. Now we haven't looked at what else happened in 2018, but that was when the big Fiji deep was 2018. So August. When we had all those other crazy sevens all over that year.
Right.
20.
So there's two fault zones that work through this area. The Mid Cayman Spreading Center is right there, the Walton Fault Zone and the Orient Fault Zone that comes off of Cuba. We know that one has been really, really busy recently. The big Haiti quake was on the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault Zone. which goes through Jamaica on the Walton Fault Zone. I think the other fault, the other earthquake that happened in 2020, was it? I think it's on the Walton Fault. Am I correct on that, Canuck?
Yeah, it's on the upper one, not the lower one. These two ones we're talking about now is on that lower one.
Yeah, the Walton Fault Zone, yeah.
Yeah, the 2009, 2018 ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the one today, although I haven't said yet, is on that same.
Yeah.
Swan
Well,
Island.
the Orient on the top, let me see where yeah, it's on the Orient. But the Walton, no, it's on the Walton, dude. The Walton is in the bottom one. The other one that was up there was the Jamaica 7.7. That's on the Orient or Orante. Is that right? Is that how you say the word?
Yeah, Orient or Oriente.
Oriente. Yeah.
Oriente, I don't know.
So about where the two arrows are. And I'll tell you, I think the Cuba fault was on that too.
Ganov one.
Yeah.
Because it was closer to the.
Well, the Ganov microplate is in between.
Yeah.
Right. We got the North American plate up here. It's a Caribbean plate, and then a Ganov microplate in here. Spreading center over here, the Mid Cayman, but the Walton fault goes a lot more than the other.
Yeah.
And if we're zooming in here, sharing this tab instead, you can see today's earthquake is on the Walton, which goes right through Jamaica down into Port-au-Prince. The 7.7 that happened up here in 2020 is on the same one where near Guantanamo was the earlier 6.8 that happened this year.
Yeah, November. So it's cool. It's making a triangle. I just noticed that.
I don't know what triangle you're talking about. Okay, but it's fine.
See, if you go where the 7.7 is in the middle, see you have 2 over now on the other side and 2 on the other side in Haiti. So
all right. I see what you're saying. Because there's 2 on that one too, but the 6.8 didn't count.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're just going by sevens, right? So see the 7.7 in the middle, and then you have 2 sevens on either side, right? Which is pretty interesting.
So we started with the Honduras 2018 that happened January 10th.
Yeah.
Wait, is it? No. Yeah, January 10th.
And we already did like 2017 because that's when the big quakes were in Mexico. Remember? We already talked about it. September. Because this one was January 9th, 2018. So this is
2018.
3 months or what? 4 months after.
Okay, 2018. All right.
October, November, December. Yeah.
January. So if we went 2017, what led up to it?
Yeah.
January. Brazil had a 4.5. Canada, Nunavut had a 6. There's Italy. Ecuador had a 5.5. February. Colombia 5.5. Argentina 6.4. Bolivia 6.5. March. Alaska 6.2. Sinaloa, Mexico 5.7. April. Panama 5.3. There's Greece 4.8. El Salvador 4.8. Chile 6.3. Chile 6.0. Chile 6.9. May. BC 6.2. BC, Mosquito Lake 6.3. Alaska, Adak 6.2. El Salvador 6-2. Peru 5-4. June. Alaska Attu Station 6-8. Ecuador 5-6. Greece 6-3. Guatemala 6-9.
Same old story.
Yeah, you're seeing power in 6-9 the year before. Yeah. 6-8 up in Alaska too. Peru 5-7. Ecuador 6-0 July. Montana 5.8. Helena. Couple of big giant Kim jackets. Peru 6-4. Where's the Rogue Islands at? Oh, Indian Ocean, no worries. North Atlantic Ocean 6-0. Northeast of French Guiana. August. Chile 5-4. Peru 5-6. 5-8. Ascension Islands 6-6. That's the Atlantic again, right?
Yep. South Atlantic.
Yeah. Venezuela comes in with a 4-5 right after that. Atlantic. September, Haiti 4-3. Sandwich Islands 6-1. Chiapas 8.2. That's crazy, man. And then January, they have the big one too. So Chiapas is right on that same line.
Yep.
And this is 2017. This is 2017.
Yeah.
Peru 4-6, Brazil 4-5, Mexico Puebla 7-1.
Yeah.
So Mexico's booming. Oaxaca 6-1. October. Alaska 6-5. Chile 6-3. Bouvet Island 6-7. November.
So North America was rocking it.
Ascension Island 6.
That year.
Here's another Atlantic 6-1. Ascension Island. Costa Rica 6-5. Ecuador 5-4. Ecuador 5-5. Brazil 6-5. December. Ecuador 6-1. Bouvet Island again 6-5. Oklahoma 3-7. And then we have the big one in the Caribbean. So Ecuador's banging hard. Mexico's super hard. Costa Rica's banging hard. The Atlantic Rift, it's banging away all the way from, the south
Top to bottom.
all the way up. Alaska's hitting pretty hard. But an 8-2 in Chiapas, oh my God. 98 people passed away in Tabasco. 78 in Oaxaca, 16 in Chiapas, 4 in Tabasco. More than 300 people were injured. Some damage was occurred in Guatemala. 4 people were injured in the largest earthquake of 2017.
Yeah.
And then in January, we have the big, Caribbean plate banger.
Yeah. And another thing that's notable out of these last 4 sevens that have happened, 3 have been in January or start of February. So that's pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah, I find that I always worry about January because it's like earthquake country. Um, 5.2 in El Salvador. The Honduras quake happened 7.5 on the 10th. Peru came in again right after that with a 7.1. Mexico, Baja 6.3. Chile a 6.3. Alaska 7.9. Holy shit.
Yeah, there's a bunch of sevens in
2018.
like 5 or 6.
Ecuador
Or
5.2. Going into February. That January was insane.
7. I think there was 5 sevens after the August.
Oaxaca 7.2.
I remember.
March. Oklahoma 4.2. April. El Salvador 5.9. Bolivia 6.8. Chile 6.2. So where did it go? Venezuela had a 4.7 in May. Mexico 2.6. Chile 6.0. Easter Island. Hawaii 6.9. Whoa.
Yeah, that was when the eruption happened.
Yeah, it crossed from Mexico to the Caribbean to Hawaii. And wow, big quakes.
Now then, by the time you get to August, that's when the big Fiji was. 8.2.
5.4 El Salvador. Ecuador's 5.0 June. May I don't know. Oh, yeah, it's on the other side. Colombia 4.9. July. Colombia 5.1. Mid-Atlantic Ridge 6.0. August. Alaska 6.4, 6.0, 6.5. Costa Rica 6.1. Venezuela 7.3. Jeez. Oregon 6.2. The Aleutian 6.3. Peru 7.1. September, Ecuador 6.2. South, that's nothing. October, Canada, Vancouver 6.5, 6.8, 6.5.
Yeah,
God bless.
that was those 3 6s. Vancouver.
In 2018. Then Greece 6.8.
See? Same
Peru 4.5. El Salvador 6.1. November, Chile 6.2. North Atlantic Ocean 6.3. Sandwich Islands 6.4. East Pacific Rise 6.3. Peru 5.5. Venezuela 5.2. Colombia 6.0. Alaska Point McKenzie 7.1. December, Georgia, Sandwich Islands is 7.1. Pacific Antarctic Ridge 6.3. Chile, Easter Island 6.3.
And the Anchorage quake
There's the Sicily one.
was the end of that year too.
Yeah, King Cove had a 6-0. Valenzuela had a 5-4. And then we have the year of Ridgecrest
and Peru
20
8.
and 29. And 2019, we start out in January. Brazil 6-8, Peru 5-0, Argentina 3-4, Chile Coquimbo 6-7, Peru Ica 5-7, Colombia 5-6. That's all in January. February, Chiapas has a 6-7. The DR comes in with a 5-3. Peru 5-5. Mid-Atlantic Ridge 6-2. Ecuador 7.5. Oh my gosh. March. Peru 7-0. Argentina 5-0. Isabela, Puerto Rico 4-6. Bolivia 6-3.
So we're basically doing the lead into Ridgecrest right now.
Yes, yeah. Colombia 6-1. That's what I'm looking for. Ecuador 6-2. April. Aleutian 6-4. Georgia 6-4. Georgia Islands. It's Sandwich Islands 6-4. Sandwich Islands 6-5. Hawaii 5-3. It's Kaloa. I don't know. That's one of the big islands, I guess. Sandwich Islands again 6-0. May. Costa Rica 6. Nicaragua 5-9. ADAC 6-0. 808 in Navarro, Peru. That's the beginning of it. So remember this. El Salvador 6-6. June. Chile 6-4. Petrolia, California 5-6. Panama 6-2. July.
It's Ridgecrest.
British Columbia 6-2. Port McNeil. They're calling it Searless Valley. Had a 6-4. California on the 4th. Then Ridgecrest 7-1 on the 6th.
Yeah.
There's Greece 5-3. God bless America.
It's not good when Greece acts up for
No.
West Coast North America.
Antarctica, Bellini Island 6-0. August. Chile 6-8. East Pacific Rise 6. Peru 4-9. Kansas 4-2. Oregon Bandon 6-3. Georgia Sandwich Island 6-6. Puerto Rico 6-0. Los Lagos 6-1. Chile 6-7. In Mali Constitucion. And then in October, nothing. November, Georgia Islands 6-1. Chile 6-1. Georgia's 6-3. And that was the beginning of Tonga Happy Eye 6-2. Mexico Chapa 6.3. Aleutian Islands ADAC 6.3. Greece Crete 6.0. December. The Aleutians had a 6. Chile had a 6. Vancouver Island is 6. Vancouver Island is 6. Argentina with a 6. Colombia with a 6. Vancouver Island with a 6.3. And Puerto Rico pops with a 5. That's 2019. So,
yeah. And then once we go to 2020, that's our January 2020, 7.7.
oh shit.
So see, this is why I was letting you go, because you just did the lead up to the 2020.
The next one is 2020. Oaxaca pops with a 5.9. Puerto Rico a 5.8. Puerto Rico 6.4. I remember those. Puerto Rico 5.2. Puerto Rico 5.9. Argentina 4.5. Oaxaca 5.2.
And the 7.7.
Kansas 4.5. Sandwich Islands 6.1. Aleutian ADAC 6.2. 6.1. On the Cayman Islands 7.7 and a 6.1.
Yeah. So there we just caught up to the most recent.
We've gone full circle.
Yeah.
So you'll
And
have to
the
listen
Cayman
to this
Islands one
report back
is-
to
Cayman Islands 2020 is also on Texas Liniment. If you extend it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree with you. You're going to have to listen. For those who are listening, you'll have to listen to the last, 10 minutes or whatever it is, 15 minutes of me reading the earthquakes for your mind to get around that there's some sort of connection pattern or repetitive architecture that the plates are telling us. And we say it all the time here on my show, Joe Slick Live, but we also say it here in the rabbit hole, and we usually say it here in the rabbit hole quite a bit, that there's a persistent regurgitation of earthquakes that when they're active, big ones, right? Now you can see it in the small ones too, but they're just not as fancy as the big ones. And the big ones are easy to spot. But once you get the big ones, you start to see the littler ones, the 4s, the 5s, even the 3s and the 2s. You'll start to see them. And it doesn't enable you to forecast, but it gives you a kind of a place to look as a place of interest. On saying, hey, look, I'm going to be watching these 3 areas because when this goes off big, generally these 3 areas go off. And if this area goes off and that area goes off, then more likely it's following a pattern and a line of going toward the next one. And then I'm going to say it's up there, and sure enough, it'll happen. Periodically, you'll get 2 earthquakes one direction and one goes back the other way, but then it returns back the other one, the previous one. So you can see that pattern persist. And but I am in no way suggesting that you're going to be magic and forecast the next big earthquake.
Yeah, exactly where it's going to be. We have a general area
Mm-hmm.
or region, but we're not saying an exact spot.
All right.
Yeah.
So
So I put the wiki in there for the 2020 quake.
I've already got it on screen.
Yeah. So
Share this tab instead. I've had it. I was reading it. Do you want to continue past January?
Yeah, well, I already know. I can give all the ones that happened after that because I've
Right.
studied 2020 so much.
Right.
Because
And,
we had,
and
yeah, we had the Idaho quake, we had the Salt Lake City quake,
mhm.
we had Monte Cristo.
Right. All those are the main events that happen in the States in February. If we just continue, Sandwich Islands had a 6.
Yeah.
And then we go into March. Mexico, Baja California had a 5.5. Utah had a 5.7.
We had the 7.4 Oaxaca and
Yeah,
Lone
I'm
Pine.
not there yet. There's Greece 5.7. Oh my God, freaking Greece. East Pacific Rise 7.1. And Idaho comes in with a 6.5.
Yeah.
And in April, and we've done this over and over and over. Colombia 5.7, Honduras 6.1, Greenland's 4.6.
So
May.
basically, since we just had a 7.6 down there,
Mhm.
the West Coast is in trouble.
I think it may. Yeah. Puerto Rico 5.4, Greece 6.5, Nevada 6.5. This is all happening in 2020. Everybody. Baja California 6.1. Peru 6.1, June, Chile 6.8, Peru 4.5, the Ascension Islands 6.0, that's the Atlantic. Iceland, Northeastern region had a 6. Mexico, Oaxaca 7.4. Lone Pine comes back with a 4.8 after Oaxaca 1 day later. See what I'm saying? There's like a pattern that persists. July, Puerto Rico, 5.3. Chile, 5.9. Perryville, Alaska, 7.8. Sandpoint, 6.1. I thought that was at 8, but they dropped it down 2 points, right?
No, the 8 was later.
Okay. Sandwich Island, 6.4.
2021.
Alaska, 6.1.
The 8 was in 2021, same
Okay.
as the Kermit X8 and the South Sandwich 8. But see, so this we're doing 2020 now, so now we're actually doing the lead up to the 3.8s. So there's lots of crazy stuff going on.
Right. 4.8 Puerto Rico, North Carolina 5.1, Costa Rica 6, Brazil 4.6, Central Mid Atlantic 6.5. Look out. Chile 6.8, Chile 6.3, Chile 6.5, Chile 6.3.
So basically, the West
Central
Coast
Mid 6.7.
6 and 7s in 2020 before it led up to the 8s.
Chile 6.2. Mid Atlantic again. That's 3 Mid Atlantics. There's a 6.9 Mid Atlantic. Damn. Sandpoint, Alaska 7.6 on the 19th of October. Greece, North Aegean 7.0 November. Chile 6. Massachusetts 3.6. Chile 6.1. Argentina 5.8. Argentina 6.3. Offshore Aleutian Islands 6.4. Nikolaevsky. Greece 4.5. Antarctica Bellini Islands 6. Chile 6.1. Chile 6.0. Peru 5.6. Peru 5.7. Chile 6.7. And that's it for 2020.
Yeah. So let's just stop right here and say, well, we've looked up the last 3 sevens that have been down in the Caribbean. So when they happen in the year after, you get 7s in Mexico and 6s going up the West Coast.
Right.
So if it's done it the 3 other times, the last 3 times, we're probably going
Right.
to have.
I mean, we're not getting huge
Mexico,
quakes in
West.
California. We're getting 6s. We've only gotten one 7.1 as a result of anything happening. Offshore Oregon hits with 6s. Petrolia will hit with a higher number, more than a 6. You'll get
Because
Vancouver Island.
within a year of the 2009 one, we had Baja 2010, 7.2.
Yeah, Baja hits a lot harder than most places. Generally in 3 locations: the San Felipe Crack down there in Hermosillo, and then down at the Cabo. Cabo is real next to a triple junction of sorts. Rio Gagito Islands down there, Mexico, the Cocos, and the Pacific Plate all bounce around right there in that spot. You'll get super large quakes in Mexico because of the subduction zone, the active subduction zone. California is virtually a spreading center and a strike slip, a compressional component through Los Angeles, through San Diego, through central part of California, through San Francisco area, then goes north and through the volcano there in Clear Lake or whatever it is, and then up to Petrolia. All these compressional type components where the Pacific is pushing up against the North American plate and creating some of these transverse ranges, north, west to southeast lines of quakes and faults, and all thrust faults, one being pushed up and over another and then falling on the backside and being hidden thrust faults, blind thrust they call them. We've studied on all of these things all the way up from San Diego or LA through San Diego, then back up through LA all the way to Vancouver. Over the last couple of months, since September 1st, we've talked about all of these and the events that have happened: earthquakes, the fires, the other anomalies that seem to persist, whether it be weather or something. The earth tells us what's going on, that it's sick, or if you want to call it that, if you want to look negative. But the earth tells us something, and it tells us that it's alive and it's moving. And because we live in a microwave kind of technology thought process where we want instant gratification, we tend not to look beyond, a current event. But through the studies that Canuck, myself, and Luke have done, we've more than just a hint that there's a persistent patterns of flows that one large quake leads to another.
I just had another brainstorm.
Go ahead.
Is our Mendocino 7
Yep.
and the Caribbean 7.6 on the same northwest to southeast line? So it would be a bit south of the Texas limit.
Yeah, just a bit south. And you're right, because that coming from San Antonio through Corpus Christi is north. It goes right through Kingston and it goes off Caracas. Just inside that would be another lineament, which would go Meridia, Monterey, Chihuahua, and well, maybe even Ridgecrest.
Oh, somebody's in trouble in between there. I don't know where it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's northern Mexico. Remember how we were noticing some events happen in the northern Mexico, like around the 18.
Is it lining up with Sonora?
Yeah. Well, no, Sonora's much further west, but I'm thinking on the eastern side of Sonora, we're through Chihuahua, Monterey, Chihuahua, Tucson, up that way. So,
well, yeah, if you're just looking at that line that I mentioned, Mendocino to where the current quake is now. That may not be good for you.
No, I might be a little bit north of it, but we can do something here.
Because the 1887 quake, they fell a long ways, way up into Texas and
right,
Arizona.
Let's they did. Yeah, they did.
All
right, let me get this one here. This quake today. I want to put it on the list. Copy. It's a 7.6.
And you need the 7 at Mendocino because I want to see where the line is exactly.
Right. Save to projects. 7.6. 2/8/20. 25. And copy. Bang. Grab this one up here. Pure strike slip. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and do a search.
For just like 7s between.
Yeah. 7. I got you, bud. Search. Custom. Yeah, we'll get bogged down again. I know. It was in 24, right?
Yeah, December, whatever it was.
Yeah.
9th, 6th.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Exactly about 2 months.
Search.
At the start of December.
Yeah, it happened on December 5th.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get that line. All right. Close that and then open that one. Save the project. That's a 7 on 12/5. 24.
Because now I'm thinking about the Nevada quake too, but it was only. So, but I'm trying to calculate the triangles. But
I know you're getting ahead of yourself, son.
Yeah, let's just keep doing what we're doing with the 7s for right now, because I want to identify the line first.
Yep. All right.
I'm already jumping ahead with the quakes.
Right.
Trying to figure out.
All right. Let's go ahead and draw the line now.
What the triangle's going to do.
All right. We got the line. So 2,900 miles is 3,000 miles. I get that. It goes right through Corpus Christi.
So it is close then to Texas.
Yeah, it's Texas lineament.
Well, somebody along the Texas lineament's in trouble. I don't know where it's going to be. Or if it's making a triangle, it could be anywhere along the coast too.
Well, Texas Liniment does kind of veer south and then kind of come over because they combine the Texas Liniment. I have the Texas Liniment come off of the I don't know what do you call that? That spreading ridge just north of there.
Yeah, I have it Blanco fracture zone through
Yeah.
right through to Corpus Christi.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably just my angle that I'm doing it.
Yeah, this one goes through Cancun, Texas, West Texas, all of the West Texas, man. Where Rustler Hills are.
Yeah.
Actually, a little bit east of them. It's right through Odessa.
I just don't know where the 7 is going to be on that.
Flagstaff. Oh.
Why?
I've been a little concerned about, God bless it, goes right through the Grand Canyon. Right near St. George. Real close to St. George. Real close to Area 51. South of Hawthorne. Tahoe. Bottom of Tahoe. North of Sutter Butte.
Yeah.
And yeah, right through the missing plate.
And the Nevada quake we had, is that on the same line, I think?
Where's the which Nevada one was that?
The Nevada quake we had that was right after the Mendocino.
What size was it?
Was it like high 5 or low 6? I can't remember.
All right.
High 5, I think. Whatever the name of it is, I can't think. Because they gave it the name of the town or whatever it was.
Oh, you're talking about the recent ones?
Yeah, the recent ones.
No. Those are inland. No.
Yeah, it was in Nevada, though. Is it on the same?
No, it's not. Because that's inland by Pyramid Lake. Fernley.
Whatever they call it.
Yeah,
They have
it's
a name for it.
yeah. You take the Mendocino and go straight out. That's kind of where that is. The Pyramid Lake area. Or finally or whatever. Yeah, I have to do a latest, I think 30 days. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
gave it a name.
Yeah, there's the swarm right here. Share this tab instead. This is the swarm right here. Urington.
Yeah.
That's the nearest town. Yeah. Ouch. And yeah, this whole area right there. It's off Tahoe. And our line goes right here. Right through South Tahoe. It's close. There's geez, how close that is, really. It's just too crazy. Done. Save the project. I'm gonna put it as brown turd. There we go.
Yeah, so that was January 16th. So it's like, no, December 9th. But they said as of January 16th, there was 560 aftershocks. So that's pretty wild.
And Urington?
Yeah, for Yerington, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was telling you, man, the thing didn't stop. There's still this week we still have quakes, 3 of them. It's slowing down now, and it's two lines and 2 different faults in the 30 days. You can see them on screen. There's Walker Lake. The line goes just south of Tahoe. south of Walker Lake through Hawthorne area. And does it go through Tonopah? Sure the hell does. Basically, Tahoe through Tonopah, right through there. There's another series of quakes here above Coaldale, and then you got the Hawthorne one, and then we got the swarm here. What's unique about this is
that goes back to the 2020 pattern where you had Monte Cristo and
right. Monte Cristo is a little bit south. There's Palmetto. There's the Jackass. It's not counting the Jackass ones, but that's the Texas liniment. But through West Texas, there's 2 swarms that have been going on for, gosh, I couldn't tell you how long, due to the boys putting a lot of stuff in the ground and pulling it out. Also, there's 2 sections south of San Antonio, much like what's happening up there. And it's uncanny that line, yeah. If you draw the 7, but the Texas liniment, it is the Texas liniment. Also, you can see this activity here and up here. So there's a crisscross that comes out of the Michigan lakes, Yeah. But those are all 30 days. I mean, it's no joke when you look at the West, Western United States.
Yeah, there's the Arrington swarm. If you keep going east, does it line up with Greece?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm thinking way ahead now.
No, it's okay to think. I'm going to look up where Arrington is here. There's Tahoe. There's Arrington. All right, these quakes happen right in this area, so it'll tell me. I know it's already told me, but I got to put it in here. All right, right there. All right, so now view grid lines. So 39 north. And then let's find out where Greece is. Whoops. Hey, come on. Where this Greece swarm is here. Let me see. Even this one is branching out with a northwest or north and south component here. But in the middle of where the 36 and 36 north. What? Where's the freaking 5-1? Okay. Let's see here. I think 34 north is where I was. 39 north. This is 36 north. There we go. 36 north, and this is a 5-1. Santorini. God bless America. Santorini. 5.1. Happened on 2-3. All right. So that one is basically what 36 north and 25 east. Looking in America, it's 39 north. So it's a little bit above.
Yeah.
But 36, let me find where 36 is. 38. Great, come on. 37, 37, 36. All right. And if it lines up, $36, 58, 36, 37, 36, 55. UB Hebe Kraber. Hey, stop that. UB Hebe Kraber lines up with that, with Greece.
Does it? So,
Yeah, it's on 36. The nuke test sites are on that same line, 37.
it's crazy. I'm doing it on my phone going around the world.
Right. Yeah. I wonder. Wait, I put a line here, so let me see if I can find the line. Path, where's that? Tidal path. There it is. It's north of Ubehebe, the line is, but looking at 36 north, shit, it's just above Flagstaff. So if Greece is in the indicator, and if this is a line that matters to anything, then I gotta say north of Flagstaff, Arizona, Grand Canyon, north of Vegas, between Vegas and St. George, that would not be good for me. Because I'm just south of that, man. I'm on like 35 north or 35 and a half north or in a third. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, we got to do the Arizona quake history, I guess.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Well,
I think Flagstaff had a 6 way back.
Flag's capabilities up in 7s.
Yeah.
It's had a 7, I think, in the 1950s. Let me see. All right. USGS search 6.8 custom 1700. Go look. I'm just going to say out here. Use this region. Search. Nothing. All right. Modify the triangle. 6.8. Just hasn't hit.
the biggest earthquakes in Flagstaff area, because I just did a search for 1906, magnitude 6.2, same year as San Fran quake.
Mm-hmm.
10, magnitude 6, and 1912, mag 6.2. Those are the three largest ones.
I read there's this, the USGS has got a couple of videos.
Yeah.
That's where they said the 7 was.
Yeah. And New Mexico acted up those same years too, because I've already studied New Mexico, so that's interesting.
This is a wild search. I'm going to put it over here and then share it with you.
But it's still all Texas limited.
Right. Look at this funny surge. This is a 6.8s and above from 1700 to current. What do you notice?
Where are the gaps?
What's odd? Or what do you notice?
Oh, the Sonora one is out there way by itself.
Mm-hmm. What else?
And there's a gap in the northern Gulf of California, a big one.
Yeah.
And there's also a gap on the coast between San Diego and LA.
That's Orange County. It might have been. Let me back up one. Back up two.
Well, the Oceanside quake was in there, but it wasn't a 6.
Let me see what happened here. Draw the rectangle. All right. That's because I didn't go over it far enough. Hold on. Draw the rectangle. Zoom out. Now you'll be able to see. So use this region.
It's kind of showing your seismic gaps right there.
Okay. I still see the pattern that I saw before. Right? I still see a funny, strange. I never saw it before. But there are 4 quakes in Nevada that steer.
Yeah, that's the intermountain seismic zone. Here's where those ones are going up.
I don't even know where that is, but interesting how you have up here the 7.2 Hebgen. Then you come over here to Bora 6.9 in 1983. Follow that same kind of bend.
Yeah, because that's all the intermountain seismic. Seismic zone.
Well,
it's like an arrow shape.
It's like what?
Arrow shape.
Arrow.
Yeah, like an arrow shape. If you go the whole way. Like the bottom part is like the bottom of the arrow. And then the other part going up the other way, up towards Idaho and all that, is the other way. We've talked about
Yeah,
this.
I don't get it, but okay, I'll take your word for it. I could just be tired.
We're only looking at
my observation is this: you come out of San Diego and you come out of Mexico, you're coming up the backside through Ridgecrest, through all the other big quakes, and then you get into Nevada, and it starts to tail off to the right, and then you get into Idaho, then you get into Hebgen, right?
Yeah.
However, today you're looking at this. Share this tab instead. Let's go ahead with the same kind of ocean share in here. 30 days, right? We'll go a little bit less. Or I'll go stay with the 30 because you'll see it. On this side, where it's a Wabash, right? Or it's Wasatch. The Wasatch, right? Wabash is out here.
It's going around the other side of the
right. And this side
seismic zone.
And this side of the basin and range, we're seeing some, but and if I went to terrain, you'd see here's Oregon, right? Nevada. the missing place is in the middle. All right. That's the current. So if I did 2.5, it kind of shows you a little different tick. Larger quakes, not the smaller ones, but the larger ones. The pattern persists. You still see the Texas lineament in Nevada right here. A line here, a line here, a line here, a line there. All the way from the Blanco fracture zone, which is the top of Texas lineament to me. Trails inland. The Mendocino trails along the coast, along San Andreas. Walker Lane is the eastern part of the American Occidental, which is from Alaska down to wherever.
Well, even in 2020, you had it do the loop around the Intermountain seismic.
Yeah.
Because it did Nevada, Idaho, Salt Lake City. Right? So it went the whole way around in 2020 on that side. So it did the same thing as like what we're looking at right now, which is pretty interesting. Just with bigger quakes in 2020. Well, maybe it'll do the same thing again. We gotta wait and see.
Okay.
That's all in the year. As that quake was January 28th on my birthday, so start of the year.
Yeah, the Intermountain seismic belt splits the Great Basin to the west and the Colorado Plateau to the east, and it cuts Utah in half. From
I can't remember if
from this corner to this corner. These ones out here in the Nevada is not the inter-seismic. It's the Great Basin, and that's what was throwing me off. That's why I had to look it up. Very, very. I don't know where this one is. I got to look that one up. But yeah, the Intermontane or Intermountain, Great Falls, Helena, Bozeman, and all the way down, right?
Yeah.
So,
the Utah quake, Salt Lake City one, I think was
yes, that's the Intermontane. Yeah. So that's out here, but what was up here in Nevada with which one of these? I'll save it just for the sake of saving it, but because these searches help later on. And then I'm going to save. Wait, what happened?
So in 2020, it went 7.7 January, Salt Lake City, March 18, Idaho, March 31st, and then back to Monte Cristo, May, I think it was. Yeah. And then you had Oaxaca, June, and then Lone Pine.
Okay, this is the one I'm talking about here.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Oceanic. There we go. No, terrain. Yeah, the Intermontane is over here. This is cutting the basin and range in half. And then coming up, the Lewis and Clark is up here. I forget what it's called. I just had it just a minute ago. Apologize. Yeah, the Great Basin is on this side. On backside is the Colorado Plateau. Intermontane divides that's where the quakes are coming down today. The little ones are coming down and meeting here in north of Vegas. And Walker Lane is considered this section here, right above the Eastern California shear zone. We kind of expanded, our own belief, our own understanding of it. The Centennial tectonic belt, which is, I believe, right through here, the Snake River Plain area. Intermontane kind of goes through here, goes all the way up to Canada. So that's pretty long and pretty interesting. But these over here are definitely not on that Intermontane. I don't know what they're on, but basin and range, that's all. I'd like to know more about it, tell you the truth. Because clearly I don't know why these quakes are moving into this section and following Idaho. Has there ever been anything in, Twin Falls area, Boise, earthquakes? I just don't know. Look, quick search. I'm going to do 5 and above.
Yeah, the only ones I remember that were big are the Bora Peak one, which is 83.
Yeah.
Same year as the Coalinga quake. So that's pretty interesting.
Huh.
Because it's kind of doing the same thing, right? It's going around the outer edges.
Well, interesting enough, I just did a search, 5s and above, and I'll put this on here for you. Share this in tab instead. And I just did this area here. Now look what happens. Right? Our main quakes happen or right up in this section here. And look at this. There's some sort of connection to the Great Salt Lake, right? There's a line through there. There's another one coming through here.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah. There's Stanley, Idaho, that was still banging around once in a while. It had a 6.5. 6.8, Pleasant Valley, 1915, which coincides with what's that mountain that blew up? Lassen?
Right? Yeah, like if you kept going on that direction, and I wonder if it would take you back to Hawaii.
What? Which direction?
Like where that line that you're talking about, it looks like a northeast to southwest line.
Oh, this line here, eh?
Yeah.
You see, scrolling
like
out.
If you go the other way, I bet it goes to Hawaii. Like if you kept going southwest.
Yeah, Hawaii out here to the left a little bit.
Hawaii's been acting up. Right?
Sure. The Molokai fracture zone, the Murray fracture zone comes off of Los Angeles.
Because see, I'm thinking this is the next lineament down from the one that goes through Boise, which is the Great Falls tectonic zone. Goes through Boise.
Yeah, the more southern tier one you're saying?
Yeah, it's
there's Boise up here.
Yeah, northeast to southwest one. Because all we're doing here is trying to identify lines from where all the quakes
Sure. Trying magnetic lines and saying why are earthquakes happening along these lines? Why not over here, over there? And why are they happening only in these kind of patterns?
And like you can see, the farther you go back in time with data, you can see like how it's forming the lines.
Right.
It's just doing it like 100 years, 200 years, or whatever.
Right. Whatever our search is. Yeah. When the data data gives us whatever, right?
Because you can see that certain, like you can do in other countries too. Like I've done it in France to
Mm-hmm.
identify. I used 200 years of quakes in that, so I could see the lines, like where it was hitting over 200 years, and you can see the liniment lines. It's pretty easy. You can do it with any country. If you can get data for 200 years, you can pretty much see what it's doing for sure.
Well, I think there's I think because of the search, it's a little muddy, but you can go on either island of or either side of Hawaii, the mid Pacific Seamount. It's more headed towards that. You can see a line right through here, and that kind of goes right into this stuff out here. But our liniments aren't necessarily, they're 500 miles wide, 200 miles wide. It could be that there are 2 lines or 10 lines that are vibrating, and they all vibrate together on, on a certain frequency, and that's what we're seeing. So, yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
So we threw it in all the limit lines at the end just for fun.
Yes, sir, buddy. We did. All that to start off with a 7, a 7.6, right?
Yeah. So somewhere along the west coast is in trouble between Mexico and.
Somewhere in the west. Yeah. Somewhere in the west is in trouble for sure. So, well, I don't know.
Wild stuff.
We might get a huge quake in Hispaniola, Haiti. We might get a big one. You just don't know.
Yeah, or it could be over the other way to Puerto Rico or someplace. Because that whole thing has had 7s now since 2009. The whole 2 or 3 on one side and 2 on the other, and the 7.7 in the middle. So if there's been 3 on the far side, on the eastern side, or the western side of the Caribbean, probably the next one will go to the eastern side.
Right.
It's crazy stuff.
Well, that part of the Caribbean plate is going northwest at 10. Central Mexico, which is the other side of the Yucatan, is going more due west than northwest. However, when you hit to the Pacific, it's going the same direction as the Caribbean plate, where the quake happened today. I'll show you.
Because it's getting pushed into North America.
Yeah, let me show you here. Finally found the page again I wanted so long. Right here is where our earthquake happened, right? The Caribbean plate is moving almost like northwest. You can see there's a little bit of change on the Mexico plate. It's North American part of it. Then the Pacific is going north again, the same direction as this one, right? And then you got the GADF, and then up here. Interesting enough, a side note, the course we had today, I don't know how many people are watching Professor. I call him Professor Nick because he's just Ned Zentner. You know, it was a good class, a very good class. I don't think there's been a bad one. I'm trying to find it for you. His class. There was
Yeah,
a quick. There was
I'm
a
getting
quick
tired of
image.
it already, though. Same as like what I did with Ice Age floods.
You get- no, because I'm picking it apart. I think it was Hammond's picture. His article. I'm looking it up. To me, it's like it's gold. I just saw it here. Hold on. Yeah. All right. Hammond's picture. Share this tab instead. We play. Stop this. Play. And he talks about Hammond, who passed away this year early. One of the great men, a mentor for Professor Nick.
Yeah, I saw the first part of it, but then I got lost in the Plutons, and then I get annoyed. So
Right there. There it is.
It's
There's the
pretty-
image. It's real brief. All right.
if I lived out there, I might care more about all the Plutons, but
Oh, that's not it. Damn.
because all these Plutons he's talking about in the different ages, it's
Right.
a bunch of them don't match up. So why was it blowing through at a different time period than nothing was smashing? So to me, they got it. He's putting it out there, but they're not explaining why there's why.
Check out this image. This is from Paul Hammond. Right? We have the Explorer plate. We have a little tiny something up plate up there. So Vonco fracture zone. Then we got the Nootka fault, which is another microplate. The Klob fracture zone. The Wanda Fuca plate. And then the Gorda plate.
Yeah.
So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 microplates that make up the JDF.
Yeah.
And he's got a list of the mountains, the volcanoes too, of the Cascades. The tertiary and andesitic lava flow complexes, stratovolcanoes in southern Cascade range of wash observations, tectonic process within the Cascade Arc. I didn't know there's looks like 3 volcanoes north of NBC that are part of the Cascades.
Yeah, those are all the southern ones.
Yeah,
in BC. Yeah,
but we don't
because it goes right up to like where the Explorer plate is.
Yeah, and that you can see
now
the
if you read the stuff on all that stuff up by Nootka and the Explorer plate, they don't even think the Explorer plate is even subducting now. They think it's already
gone.
added on.
Yeah, it's gone already. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's why there's a change in the trajectory of the Pacific plate.
because all the crazy stuff at Nootka, if you read it, that's where the spreading zone of JDF is, and where we had all that swarm back there earlier.
Probably a triple junction went through there, right?
Yeah, it was progressing there up the Nootka Fault in towards Vancouver Island. Because now they think if Cascadia blows, it's going to go from Nootka down, not all the way up to the Explorer plate, if you read all the current things on Nootka.
All right.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, everybody,
I traced it in because I looked up all the Nootka swarms and quakes. And it seems like it starts out and then tries to come in and make a 6 closer to Vancouver Island.
Calmness, you're so sweet.
It's crazy stuff.
You're not the only one that has had problems bouncing off.
Well, Ethiopia is still acting up on.
Yeah, Ethiopia I can see is bouncing. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Crete going crazy. Ethiopia, yeah. So there are things happening around the planet. You know, I don't want to get that right. So, but yeah.
And I see the other one, the owl, is all acting up on that screen.
Yeah. And the owl was in his discussion too this morning, but he didn't want to touch on it.
No, because then he's going to get into the faults that are not active, but really are because they're limits. Which you don't want to get into that.
No,
because then you got to match all the faults with the limit line.
Right.
So he's not going that far, even though everybody's all mesmerized by the owl, except for me.
Well, we lost Luke early on. I think some company came by and lassoed him.
Yeah.
Or he had to go to work. I think he said he had to go to work. He had to push some snow tonight. So, yeah, that's what it was. Had to go remove snow. So, they push it in piles and then periodically they go and pick it up and move it. So he had to do that tonight after working like 36 straight hours or some couple hours sleep, then go back at it. Feaster's famine for him,
So to summarize, if the Caribbean shakes with a 7, get ready. West Coast. Within a year.
Well, definitely in Mexico, Costa Rica. If you see Costa Rica, it'll go down to Peru. But if you see it in Mexico, watch out. Yeah. You watch out BC. Watch out up to Portola. And we might see something up in Alaska.
Yeah.
Because the Mid-Atlantic's bouncing. If the EPR hits again, if Easter Island hits.
And if there's an 8 in Chile or Peru, get ready. We already have all the other elements.
Yeah. I've been concerned about Utah, though, but St. George. The hurricane fault's east of me, 50 or so miles. Goes kind of through near Flag. So it's not near me.
Because it hasn't done anything big since 92, so 33 years.
Yeah.
That's where we left off in Utah. We never finished it.
Well, we have a lot to set the stage for because it's going to go a little bit. Sometimes you got to hit the right spot to get things shaken.
Yeah, because I think that one was felt good in Arizona too. St. George one. I read something about it before, but 1887 one was felt in Arizona quite a bit too. The Sonora quake. And there was a Nevada quake in 1887 too, so that's interesting. So it kind of did the same thing in 1887, where it went the big one in Sonora and then up.
Yeah, I'm just reading through chat. What's going on? Home Awakenings is back. I think Bampy's out there. Timmy Mom, what a girl. I'm like 2718
Yeah, Vampy's gonna have to go back and watch all the stuff now.
I know, right? She missed it all tonight. It was good. I appreciate you, brother. As you can probably tell, I'm hitting the wall.
Yeah, I'm getting tired. I drank all my water, and now I'm getting dry.
Yeah, no kidding, right? All right, everybody. Well, we lost YouTube a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It kicks off, I guess.
You just said that.
Maybe it's still on the other one, though. Yeah, it might still be on this one. Big hugs, y'all. Remember, don't get none on you. And we do have a mooring report Monday through Friday. Let's see if I can get that one for you here. Hold on. Sorry.
Well, I say we have just what you did tonight was like, what, 3 or 4 hours? Stuff.
Yeah. It has been. All right. For those who are out there,
considering we had no idea what we were gonna do tonight, and then all of a sudden you get
we really didn't, did we?
And we got 3 or 4 hours of stuff. And we did Santorini. I'm afraid what's going to be next Wednesday now.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It's nuts. So we had the Super Swarm on Wednesday, and now we have the Caribbean 7.6 now. So what on earth is it going to be on Wednesday?
Yeah. Here, this is for
now.
This is a commercial about the morning report. And again, you can click the subscribe button, like and follow and share and get notified all at the same time. So big hugs, y'all. And good night, Canuck. Thank you so much again. We'll get on our track, but it seems like this thing was necessary to dig a little deeper. So this rabbit hole, as well as the report that happened prior to this, about an hour before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, we had breaking news, right?
Yep. A lot of content tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the breaking news. All right. You didn't get to YouTube?
It didn't record?
I don't know.
Well, that's weird.
Posts? No. Live? Shorts? Videos?
Maybe it got taken down and all the other stuff at the end.
I don't know, man.
At the end of it. said, no, we can't put that on there. All that stuff they're talking about at the end. Yeah. It's like when you called me in the phone, calling all screwy too.
Yeah, well, that was kind of weird too, wasn't it? Where the heck did it didn't go to Rumble, did it? No, man. It's not recording when we go to. Okay, it's all right. So this is today's. Already 34 people have seen tonight's over there on Rumble.
Already?
Yeah.
They respond awful fast over there at Rumble.
Yeah.
It must have something to do with the Quakes. That's why it's called Rumble.
Yeah.
You talk about Quakes on there, they get on and right fast.
I think I misspelled Caribbean. C-A-R-R, or is it C-A-R-I?
C-A-R-I-B-B.
Yeah, that's why I said looks wrong. There we are. We're still live, everybody. Anyway, all right. Thanks, Canuck. Love you, man. Take care of yourself. Take care of your sister.
Good night.
And remember, can't wait to become a citizen.